Listening Fanfiction presents Accidental Marriage by Shandina, based on the manga and anime series Full Metal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa. Read for you by Sierra Peace. Chapter 1. One might say that the office of Colonel Roy Mustang could easily be compared to a playground. While there may not be any swings to laugh on, or slide to ride, the atmosphere was still rather juvenile, especially for an office setting. Oftentimes one would find at least one or two people there daydreaming. Sometimes they were making strange, heroic poses or bragging to the others about what he did during the weekend. The girl in the office was feared as if she had cooties. Rumors were swapped, and teasing was often a daily part of their life. Even the occasional bully entered the room. Now, there were two people in the office that bicker every chance they get. It really didn't matter what the subject was on or where they were. They never turned down the opportunity to fight with one another. Now, this could go in two ways. We could keep the analogy of the playground scene and point out that when a little boy liked someone, they oftentimes teased them. However, the normal visitors of this playground didn't really like to keep with that. Hearing the senseless banter so many times, it sounded more like an old married couple. Married couple? Why, that gave Havoc the most wonderful idea. Oh yes, a wonderful plan to get back at the bickering pair for all the inconvenience of listening to them, or hiding from them, as sometimes things tittered to the violent side. That's when unidentified flying objects normally came into play. Usually these objects were all going in the same path, but every once in a while a few would take a detour. He waited until April 1st was around. He got those in the office to agree to play along with this, even Riza, which was a miracle in of itself. The stage was set. Everything was ready. In fact, Ed was already there, arguing with the colonel. Riza handed Ed a few papers that he needed to sign. It was one of those things that Ed had to do every time he came back from a mission. Then Roy would sign the parts he had to. It was perfect. Roy stared in amusement at the petite blonde who looked like a teapot that had been left on the stove for too long.
Well, Edward, no one told you to go and destroy those buildings.
Right now, Roy was discussing the fact that Ed had managed to collapse 3 buildings in this one city during his latest mission. Ed wasn't happy to hear it was being taken from his check, either. It would take several checks to make up the cost, too. Edward sneered. They had been at this for a while, and right now all he wanted to do was leave, take a shower, and get some sleep, maybe get some food, if he was lucky.
Fine, is that all you have to say, Colonel Bastard?
He snapped.
Yes, Full Metal, you were dismissed,
Roy said, making a shooing motion with his hand at it. Edward gave him one last glare before turning on his heel to march out of the room, his sour mood written on his face. Before he could open the door, Hawkeye cleared her throat. "Before you leave, Edward, I believe we have a situation on our hands that needs your attention," she said. Ed stopped and looked at her curiously. Roy as well wondered what could possibly need both of their attention that he hadn't heard about. She pulled the paper out of the stack and handed it to Roy. Roy gave her a funny look before reading over the document. His eyebrows furrowed, wondering why the hell he was reading a marriage license. That is, until he got to the bottom and saw both his and Edward's name scratched in on the bottom. His eyes bugged.
What the hell?
He exclaimed.